she said. I think we should just be friends. My ex needs me more. I shoved the car key I was going to give her into my pocket and smiled. Hope you're happy. A couple months later, late at night, she showed up at my front door, with a bunch of people behind her. Part 3. I could see it in her eyes. Then the mask snapped back into place, and she started screaming again, pounding on my chest as her friends recorded. Lee kept the phone line open until the police arrived. When they did, I stepped aside and showed them the footage from my security cameras. Clear as day, her trespassing, yelling, trying to force her way in. The officers looked at her, then at me. One of them sighed, clearly used to this kind of chaos. Ma'am, you need to leave. Right now. If you come back here, it'll be trespassing. Emma's lip quivered. He's lying. He ruined me. You don't understand. But no one was buying it. Even her friends looked uneasy now, slowly lowering their phones. The officers escorted them away. As she was being led off the porch, Emma turned back one last time, eyes blazing with something between heartbreak and fury. You'll regret this, Jack. You'll regret not saving me. I didn't move, didn't speak until the patrol car's lights faded down the street. Then I whispered, mostly to myself, no, Emma, you're the one already living with regret. I closed the door, locked it, and stood there in quiet, the echo of rain filling the space where her chaos used to live. Lee slipped her hand into mine and said softly, you okay? I nodded. Yeah, for the first time I think I actually am. After that night things finally quieted down. A few weeks later Lee and I packed what we had and left the city behind. We moved to a small town on the Oregon coast, tucked between foggy cliffs and evergreen hills. I opened a tiny photography studio, nothing fancy, just white walls, open light, and the smell of salt drifting through the cracked window. No clients chasing trends, no fake smiles for social media. Just landscapes, local portraits, and the kind of stillness I'd forgotten existed. Leah freelanced as a travel editor, writing about hidden trails, local artists, and coastal storms. Sometimes she'd sit by the window, laptop on her knees, hair messy from the wind, while I developed film in the back room. We didn't talk much about the past. We didn't need to. Peace doesn't require explanations. Months passed. The studio did well enough to pay the bills, and somehow that felt like success. I deleted most of my social media, not out of anger, just disinterest. Once you've lived inside someone else's chaos, silence becomes the most beautiful sound in the world. One morning, early spring, I was cleaning the drawer of my desk when my hand brushed against something cold. A single car key still on its original ring. The same one I'd planned to give Emma that night. Back when I still believed she was my future. I turned it over in my hand, the metal catching light like a reminder and a ghost at the same time. Lee walked in, holding 2 mugs of coffee. You look like you found buried treasure, she teased. I smiled. In a way, yeah. I bought this once for someone who didn't understand love. Now I thought I might finally start a new story, with someone who truly does. She looked at me for a long moment, then set the coffee down, eyes soft. I'll make sure you never regret giving it away again. And somehow, I knew she meant it. That evening, we took the car and drove down Highway 101. The ocean to our right, the sun bleeding gold over the horizon. For a while, we didn't say anything. The radio hummed softly, waves crashing against the rocks below. At one point, Lee glanced at me and asked, do you ever think about her? I thought about it. About Emma's voice, her chaos, the version of myself that tried to fix what was never mine to fix. Then I shook my head. Not really. I think about who I was when I loved her, and how far I've come from that. Lee smiled, reached over, and laced her fingers through mine. The road curved, and for the first time in a long time the future felt clear. Emma vanished after the incident. Word eventually got around. Unpaid debts, mental health issues, another relationship gone wrong. Her social media disappeared overnight. Some people pitied her, but I didn't pity her either. I just let it be. Letting go isn't weakness. I told Lee one night as we locked up the studio. Sometimes it's the only way to keep your dignity intact. Healing isn't revenge or forgetting. It's simply finding peace.